Sent for 4 months. Valuable FD.
Will electricity tariffs be increased by the month of January? Are there attempts to sell off private power plants here in Sri Lanka to private investors? Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. We've got details of these stories and much more lined up for you here tonight. Let's start off with a look at your top stories.
Attempts to sell power plants. Power sector employees protest. Request for electricity tariff increment has yet not been submitted. A statement from the chairman of PUCSL. Don't engage in tug-of-war in public service. President instructs public sector employees. Korean delegate reprimand Sri Lankan politicians. Interest rates were not increased based on instructions from the central bank. It was a business decision. A statement from the National Savings Bank.
Taking a look at one of your top stories tonight, State Minister Indika Anuruddha said that one of the 3 generators at the Norochole power plant will be shut down from midnight today for maintenance. The minister said that the maintenance was initially scheduled to be conducted in the month of January. However, a decision was reached to conduct the maintenance earlier due to projected drop in hydropower generation in the month of January. Thereby, the national grid will lose 300 megawatts of energy supplied from the Norochole power plant. Also in your local news, the Ceylon Electricity Board United Trade Union Alliance staged a protest opposite the Norochole power plant this afternoon. Members of the union allege that there are attempts to sell power plants.
The trade unions protested against the alleged attempts to sell power plants and increase electricity tariffs.
What will happen if power plants like Norochole are sold? We will lose 900 megawatts of power generation and about 45% of our generation capacity will go to the hands of foreigners. We will lose our energy security. The minister did not help to increase the electricity tariffs. He said that the tariffs were being increased to give salary hikes to the employees. The man who said that is now trying to increase electricity tariffs. The secret behind this is the fact that the minister is much more interested in showing investors interested in purchasing this power plant that it is a lucrative investment rather than providing electricity to the people. Keep our bonuses. We will not allow you to sell off our national assets. This government is preparing to sell off 52 state institutions. The Ceylon Electricity Board is being sacrificed first. They are preparing to sacrifice the Norochole power plant first. They are prepared to sell off the Lakshapana power plant to a Korean company. Just like they sold off the Hambantota port, they are now planning on selling the Norochole power plant to China. Not only that, they are preparing to break down the transmission sector of the CEB and hand it over to 2 companies. The distribution network is to be broken into 4 parts and given away. A
protest organized by the CEB Engineers Union and the CEB United Trade Union Alliance was staged at the Kegal town today. Meanwhile, the Senior Electrical Engineers Association today responded to the recent warnings issued by the Electrical Engineers Association of a risk of a 10-hour power cut due to the delay in the purchase of coal.
දැන් ඔවුන් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නේ මේ පැය 8ක 10ක විදුලි කප්පාදුවකට යන්න වෙනවා කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා ඒක බැහැර කරනවද?
බොහොම වගකීමෙන් බැහැර කරනවා.
We reject this claim with responsibility. That will not happen. Do not worry. There is a management here. It's not just the trade unions. The management must take care of it. We believe it will be done. I'm not praising anyone, but a good general manager was appointed the day before yesterday. We have a good chairman. He is efficient. Everyone knows that the minister is like that as well. Some created an issue with the diesel queues. They are the ones who see the bad in everything. We don't look at the negative. We must always see the slightest positive in things. There is a positive side to this. There is no requirement to go for a power cut. If that happens, there is no point in having management. We can solve this power crisis if there is no dollar crisis in the country.
මේ කප්පාදුවත් නැති කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට මේ ඩොලර් අර්බුදය නැත්තම්.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමාලගේ ගණනය කිරීම අනුව දැන් පසුගිය කාලේ මේ විදුලි බිල වැඩි කරපු එක ප්‍රමාණවත්.
දැනට ප්‍රමාණවත් මට හිතන විදිහට.
Meanwhile, the Lanka Coal Company says that coal stocks at the Norachole power plant can be replenished only 2 days after the existing stocks have run out. Speaking during an interview on TV1 this morning, the chairman of the company cited delays encountered while the stocks were being shipped to the country as a reason for this.
The sixth ship was due to arrive at the Bulletin port on the 28th, but due to delays in loading the ship, the supplier requested us for more time and to dock at a separate port so that they can load the ship, and then they dock at the port in Mozambique. There were 2 to 3 other ships at the port in Mozambique, and that caused a delay as well. Now the ship that was supposed to dock at the Bulletin port on the 28th will only arrive in the country on the 5th or 6th of next month. About 20,000 to 25,000 metric tons have already been loaded. If we assume that it will take about 11 days, this ship will arrive at the Bulletin port on the 3rd or the 4th. Usually the coal is unloaded as the ship docks. We have the capacity to unload 12,000 to 15,000 tons a day. So there is a gap of about 2 days.
කටයුතු කරන්න අවකාශය තියෙනවා අපේ නැගුරු ජෙටි එකේ. මෙට්‍රික් ටන් 7500ක් වැනි ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි ගල්ලඟුරු අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. අනිවාර්යෙන් එතන දවස් දෙකක පමණ ගැප් එකක් තියෙනවා. ගොල්ලන්ගේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමාට මේ ගල්ලඟුරු සැපීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ ඒ දවස්. අනිවාර්යෙන් නැහැනේ.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, Janaka Ratnayaka, said a proposal to increase electricity tariffs has not yet been presented to the commission. He said the subject minister or the chairman of the PUCSL can't decide on the electricity tariff revision.
The electricity tariffs were increased by 75% in August after considering all the relevant factors. They requested for an increase of 250%, the same level they are asking now. If we had reason to believe it was justifiable, we would have allowed it. The political sphere is saying that it is my personal opinion. It does not happen that way because it is a commission. When you look at September, October and November, there is a profit, which means the allowed increase is legitimate and justified. The funds should be paid in advance for the 31 vessels carrying coal that are scheduled to arrive in the country. Just because they need 39 billion, they cannot burden the people. The people are paying the bill a month after they use it. He said that electricity tariffs will be revised in January and July. It cannot happen that way, and things cannot be done the way he wants or how I want. If there is a revision of electricity tariffs, we need to be informed of the proposal to increase the tariffs. We have not received any such proposal as of the 22nd of December. It cannot be done in January.
The PUCSL chairman added that if electricity tariffs are increased outside the purview of the PUCSL, all possible steps will be taken against such a decision.
According to the Act, no one can go beyond the law to revise electricity tariffs as they wish. If someone is acting in violation of the law, we will take all possible measures in the country to stop it.
Janaka Ratnayaka also responded to allegations raised by Minister Kanchana Wijesekara.
I have been helping politicians for the past 20 years. He doesn't know how I supported in 2003, 2005, 2010 or 2015. He's saying this is my personal opinion, that I gave buildings and various other things. These are irrelevant. He's talking about the national list, but I have no intention of entering politics through the national list. We know politics is a cesspit. I have no intention of becoming a member of the 225.
Former JVP parliamentarian Sunil Handunetti spoke about the situation in the country's power sector as well.
When there is a problem between the minister and the officials, it is easy to cut off the electricity supply. And while we watch this drama, we lose electricity. We demand for the officials to inform the public of the real situation. Either the minister or the officials have to tell us the truth. Instead, the minister is putting the blame on the officials. At least the officials must tell the country the truth. Even if the minister sues the officials, the country gets electricity. That's all right. This is for the people, isn't it? The people need electricity. If the minister can ensure that the people get electricity, that is also fine. But if the minister is not ensuring that the people are provided with power and putting the blame on the officials, the people of this country cannot accept this.
හැබැයි ඇමතිවරයා කරන්ට් එක දෙන්නේ නැත්තේ නිලධාරීන්ගේ වරද නිසා නම් ඒක පිළිගන්න රටේ ජනතාව ලෑස්ති නැහැ.
Punctuality is the best way to make a good first impression, and Sri Lankan officials failed to make a good first impression with foreign delegates yesterday. State Minister of Social Empowerment Anupa Pascual was strictly advised by the chairman of the South Korean Disaster Relief Foundation, Cho Sung Lee, during a workshop that was held yesterday.
The South Korean representative spoke about the importance of punctuality when the meeting was delayed by 30 minutes.
여러분 거짓말이 뭐예요?
ප්‍රේමවන්ත සහෝදර සහෝදරිය මේ බොරුව කියන්නේ මොකක්ද?
9시에 만나기로 하고
9ට මුණ ගැහෙනා කිව්වොත්
9시 반에 오면
9:00ට ආවොත්
그 거짓말 아니에요?
ඒක බොරුවක් නෙවෙයිද?
그런 사람은 뭘 만납니까?
දැන් ඒ වගේ කෙනෙක් මොකටද මම මුණ ගැහෙන්නේ?
자 영국 속담에
එංගලන්ත කියමනක් තියෙනවා.
거짓말하는 사람 마음에는
බොරු කියන මිනිස්යාගේ සිත තුළ
화장실도 짓지 마라.
වැසිකිළියක්වත් හදන්න එපාලු.
영국 사람들은 거짓말하면 그냥 칼입니다.
ඒ අනුව එංගලන්ත ජාතිකයන් බොරු කිව්වොත් ඒක නිකන් පීයක් වගේ කපලම දානවා.
1분만 시간 안 지켜도
එක විනාඩියක් රක්ෂා කරන්න බැරුවොත් ඒ වෙලාව
끝입니다. 끝. 스리랑카는 거짓말하는 걸 밥 먹은 것도 더 잘하는 것 같아.
ඒ අනුව සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ රටේ ඒ වගේ දේවල් නිකන් බත් කනවා වගේ අපිට නිකන් සාමාන්‍ය දෙයක් බවට පත් වෙලා.
나니까 이런 얘기 해주는 거예요.
දැන් මම හින්දා මේ දේවල් කියනවා මිසක
약속 안 지키는 거는 뭐 그건 아주 당연한 거고.
ඔය සාමාන්‍යම දෙයක් තමයි පොරොන්දු කඩ කිරීම.
아 이런 말 듣는데 창피하지 않아요?
දැන් ඒවා අපි ජාතියක් හැටියට අපිට ලැජ්ජ වෙන්න ඕන අපි මේ වගේ දේවල් අහන්න.
물어보자. 내가 외국인이 와서 여러분들의 이런 말하면 창피하지 않습니까?
විදේශිකයෙක් ඇවිල්ලා මංගොඩ මේ කාරණාව ගැන කියන එක අපිට ලැජ්ජාශීලී කාරණාවක් මේක.
여러분 나라 이게 문화라고 지금.
දැන් මේක අපේ සංස්කෘතියක් වෙලා.
이거 안 바뀌면
මේක වෙනස් කරගන්න බැරි වුණොත්
외국과 교제할 수 없습니다.
විදේශිකයන් අපිට සමග අපිට සහභාගීකම පවත්වන්න බෑ.
비즈니스 끝입니다. 끝.
බිස්නස් ඉවරයි එතනින්.
이거 바꾸셔야 돼.
මේක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕන.
매우 중요한 얘기입니다.
තාම වැදගත් කාරණාවක් මේක.
The police continued their search for drugs close to schools today as well.
500 packets of drugs were found when a shop close to a school in Hunupitiya, Kiribatkoda was raided today. The raid was carried out by the Kiribatkoda police. 2 suspects have been arrested.
We found a suspicious person who was around the schools. Upon searching him, we discovered a packet of drugs. It looked like this. When inspecting this, we received information on the seller. Accordingly, we conducted a raid and found 500 small packets of drugs. There were about 500 packets. They were selling these for 100 rupees each.
Search operations were also conducted by the police in Kaluthara North. Shops near schools were searched by the police. Individuals who were around schools in the Passera town were also searched today. Meanwhile, 125 jeeps were handed over to the police department today. This took place at the car park of the Suhurupai building of the Ministry of Public Security in Battaramulla, where the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, officially handed over the vehicles to the Minister of Public Security, Tiranalas. The vehicles provided today are a part of 500 vehicles that are to be received by the police department under the Indian credit line.
There are not enough vehicles at many police stations. There is a need among the people to bring drug peddlers before the law, and they look to the police to do this. However, they do not have sufficient vehicles for this. I met a police OIC yesterday. He travels in his three-wheeler. When we receive vehicles like this, some people say that we must not accept them. This is completely false. The police needs this. That is why we worked hard for this. We did something that could not be done for 3 years. We thank the Indian government and the Indian High Commissioner.
බැරි දෙයක් අපි කරගත්ත කොහොම හරි අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා ඉන්දියන් රජයට අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා මේ මහ කොමසාරිස්තුමාට.
The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka says that he will continue to assist Sri Lanka under the neighbourhood first policy of India.
Yeah, I can drive it, but not here.
We can go.
India's support to Sri Lanka, as you know, has been consistent. We are committed under our leadership's neighbourhood first policy. Sri Lanka is our closest maritime neighbour. India is very happy to continue its support to the people of Sri Lanka. I'm very happy that today we have handed over to the police through the Honourable Minister the vehicles which will be used by the police for law and order, and this is part of India's commitment to support democracy, stability and economic recovery in Sri Lanka. We have stood with the people of Sri Lanka and we will continue to do so. Thank you.
Speaking to the Hindu newspaper, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe has said that Sri Lanka is waiting for financial assurances from its bilateral creditors, including India and China, to tap support from the International Monetary Fund.
Speaking to the Hindu, the governor said, quote, "We have shared all the information possible with our bilateral creditors on an open, comparable and transparent basis. Now they will have to look at it, make a decision internally and come back to us. We hope they will do that soon." End quote. According to the governor, talks with China got a little delayed, citing internal issues such as the Chinese Communist Party's National Congress held in October and COVID-19 restrictions in China. Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe said Sri Lanka was looking at more concessional long-term loans only for multilateral agencies. He added, quote, "The relief we are expecting from other creditors is a grace period and maturity extensions so that our debt service burden in the next few years will be much lower than if we did not opt to debt restructuring." End quote. According to the governor, Sri Lanka is seeking some relief from its creditors so that it can repay over the next 20 years rather than the next 4-5 years.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says public sector employees should conduct themselves properly without engaging in a tug of war when serving the public. The President made these remarks at a District Development Committee meeting at the District Secretariat in Nuwara this morning.
The President said he instructed officials of state institutions to collectively submit a report regarding land issues in the Nuwara district before the 4th of February, and he will take action with powers vested in him if they fail to do so. The head of state also issued directives to begin a cable car project between Pattipola and Boralanda for tourists who visit World's End.
The NBRO has assured that there is a risk of landslides at the MOH office and we need to relocate. There is a CEB building and a bungalow nearby. We requested to use one of them till we find a permanent solution.
අතිකට ජනාධිපතිතුමාට විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ සභාපතිවරයෙක් එකඟ වුණා අර විදුලි බල මණ්ඩල නිවාසෙ දෙන්න ඒක ගන්න.
Horton Plains does not fall under the Nuwara Municipal Council. We must first protect Horton Plains. People are using it to profit. But what happens if the environment is destroyed? It is the highest elevation point in Sri Lanka. If it is destroyed, it will affect all other areas.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියන්නේ 150ක් විතර අරන් ඉතුරු ටික දීලා මේක ඉවර කරන්න. ඔය කියන විදිහට ඔය මිනිස්සු අයින් කරන්න බෑනේ ඔයාට.
මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහන්නකෝ දැන් මමනේ තී.
I will decide. You haven't been able to do anything for the past 30 years. People are living there. People living there is causing more damage to the area.
මිනිස්සු ජීවත් වෙන්න තව වැඩි වෙන්න මේකට විශාල හානියක් වෙනවා.
ලයිට් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා, කාපට් පාරවල් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
එතන බලන්න කොහොමද අපි 150ක් හරි අරගන්නේ. එතකොට සමහර ගෙවල් අයින් කරන්න ඕන.
Look at how we can take at least 150 acres. If some houses need to be removed, tell me how it can be done. Look into it and come to me with a solution, not the issue. You cannot raise concerns and evade responsibility. How many enjoining orders were brought? It didn't stop them. They went to court and lifted the enjoining order. Don't argue with me. Give me a report on this, and if there is an issue, thereafter we will discuss this with the Environment Ministry as well. When I came here, 50 to 60% of the issues needed to be solved and didn't need to be asked from me. These departments are playing a tug of war. They are all government officials. You are fighting like Ukraine and Russia. I expect you to work together and direct any issues to me. These are small matters. You do not need a president, prime minister or a minister to resolve these. This is Ravana's kingdom.
ජනාධිපතියෙක්වා අගමැතිවරයෙක්වත් මං හිතන්නේ ඇමතිවරයෙක්වත් උවමනා නැහැ මේව විසඳ ගන්න. දුන්නේ වකවානුවනේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න. මේ තමයි රාවණ රජුගේ රාජධානිය. වෙන කාගේවත් නෙමෙයි.
A silent protest was held at the Liberty roundabout in Kolpiti this evening against the rising cost of living, in particular the price hike of stationery items of school students.
As common citizens, we have a right to protest, and that's what we are doing. So I don't understand why the government gets angry looking at us and putting cops over there. We can see now people, they are cutting the power. They are cutting power for people for 2 hours 20 minutes. At the same time, they go to the golf face where the old Aragala was there and lit up that place and waste all the money on all the lights there for no crowd. And they have been lighting up the Lotus Tower and having some program. This is an utter waste of funds, I would say, because people are suffering.
The National Savings Bank issued a statement regarding the increase in their interest rates.
The National Savings Bank recently increased the interest rates of loans to a maximum of 15%. The bank took steps to increase the interest rates of the loans that they used under a fixed interest rate as well. Issuing a statement today, the National Savings Bank said that the hike in the interest rate was not done based on the advice of the central bank or any other institution. The statement says that this was a decision taken by the bank. The statement adds that it is usual for banks to adjust their interest rates based on the interest rates in the market. The bank says that if the interest rates in the market come down in the future, the bank will take steps to reduce the interest rates as well.
The 26th of December has been declared as a public holiday. The State Ministry of Home Affairs says that Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena informed them of this during a meeting with district secretaries. The 26th of December has been declared as a government holiday since Christmas falls on a Sunday. An extraordinary Gazette notification appointing returning officers and assistant returning officers for the administrative districts was issued. The Gazette was issued in the exercise of the powers vested in the Elections Commission by Section 4(1) of the Local Authorities Elections Ordinance.
The district secretary or government agents of each district will serve as the returning officer, while the assistant commissioner of elections will serve as the assistant returning officer. In the meantime, the Election Commission of Sri Lanka says several rounds of discussions will be held leading to the upcoming elections. Chairman of the Election Commission, Nimal Punchiheva, says today's discussions will be held with the district secretaries. He added that deputy and assistant election commissioners of all districts have been called for a meeting at the Election Commission tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya charged that the government has no intention of holding the Provincial Council's election.
Provincial Council members must be appointed before 20th of March following the election. During a discussion between the chairman of the election, he told us that the election must be held at least a month prior. All opposition factions, a group from 16 parties, went to the Elections Commission and requested an election. The Elections Commission promised us that they will hold an election at the right time. During last week, the President had summoned the chairman of the Commission. He had met the Elections Commission yesterday as well. However, a decision on the election has not been made. We got to know that they are trying to create problems among district secretaries to delay the election. The government is scared of elections. They cannot go to the people.
මැතිවරණ වලට බය වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ජනතාව ඉදිරියට යන්න බැරි තත්ත්වයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Former Minister Udaya Gammampila says that moves by the government to postpone elections will not be allowed to continue.
මැතිවරණ කොමිසම මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න දක්වන උනන්දුව හා සමාන උනන්දුව.
We do not see the same enthusiasm that the Elections Commission has for this election with the government. It is deadly for the government to go for elections at a time when tariffs are increased and the people are suffering. The second issue is the one of electricity shortages. The third issue is that the government had the plan to gain the IMF loan facility by December. The Asian Development Bank has promised to provide a $1 billion loan facility as well. What they had planned was to issue dollar bonds, do it all by December and to bravely face an election. Now they have nothing to do. The government now knows that if they face an election during a power crisis, medical shortage, rising food prices and increasing taxes, it will be deadly for them. No matter how hard the government tries, we will not let them evade the elections.
මොනතරම් උත්සාහ කළත් ජනතාවගේ ඡන්දයිතිය අහිමි කිරීමට ආණ්ඩුවට අපි ඉඩ තබන්නේ නැහැ කියන පොරොන්දුව අපි ජනතාවට ලබා දෙනවා.
The chairman of the Samagi Jana Balawegya, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, convened a media briefing today.
Who wrote that? The media secretary signed the invitation, asked him about this. I did not advise him on this. I didn't mention an attempt to divide the party. I just informed him to convene a media briefing. I would like to apologize. I don't know who made this list of speakers. A few people were involved in organizing this, but I know that the leader of the party also sees them. That must have happened. I did not look into it, but there was a problem in the list of speakers. That is what I'm saying. That's why the main person's speech is scheduled at the end of any event. Even the Pradesh Sabha councillors understood this. It is regrettable if it was organized by people who didn't understand this. You cannot divide the party with this. Pulling people down and stabbing them in the back is normal in politics. It was there since I entered politics, so I don't have a huge issue.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga opened the new offices of former parliamentarian Chandima Veerakkudi. Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa donated kidney dialysis machines worth 3.9 million rupees to the Trincomalee Hospital today. This was done under the 54th edition of the Husmark program being carried out by the Samagi Jana Balawegya.
People do not have money to get the medicine that they need. People are suffering. When they go to pharmacies, the prices of medicine are sky high. The people who rule the country do not understand these issues because they have medicine on time whenever they require. They can have surgeries done whenever they want. Many are staying at 5-star hotels these days. Even if they are admitted to the hospital, they are admitted to 7-star wards. Do they not understand the terrible situation of the people when they stay in these 7-star hotels? Do they not understand that there is a shortage of medicine? The Ministry of Health is not efficient. The Ministry of Health is weak. The Ministry of Health is corrupt. 25 to 40 million US dollars is required monthly for medicine. This number may go up to a maximum of 50 million US dollars as well. Is there any point of a government that cannot find 50 million US dollars in a month? Is it fair that the people in this poor country have to face issues from medicine as well?
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
The Gammadda initiative continues its nationwide mission to lend a helping hand to Sri Lankans in need. The construction of a project to provide clean drinking water to a village of 200 families in Kurunegala will begin tomorrow.
The Hengamur village in Kobegane in the Kurunegala district is home to 200 families. For many decades, these people had no access to clean water. Among the people suffering here are the 400 students studying at the Hengamur Mahavidyalaya. A considerable number of people living here have fallen prey to the deadly chronic kidney disease.
මොකක් හරි ඉතින් වතුර දෙන මාර්ගයක් සලසලා දුන්නොත් ගොඩක් ඉතින් පින් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්නේ.
The only request of the residents of villages including Mawatagama, Gurugoda and Kadattava was to give them some clean water. Gammada, together with Dr. M.U.A. Tenakon and the relatives of Devinka Puswala, will construct a project to provide the people here with clean water. The project is carried out under the advice of the Ministry of Health with technical assistance of the Sri Lanka Navy. The Gammada team today visited the temple in the village and received blessings. This project to provide clean water under the Gammada initiative is very important to us. Even before, a project was carried out to construct an anicut to take water to the fields here. These projects that are conducted to benefit the people will not only receive our support but also the blessings of the Triple Gem. This project that makes the dreams of the people here a reality will begin construction tomorrow.
News First with the people.
Newly released information from a U.S. congressional investigation shows that the U.S. Internal Revenue Service did not pursue timely, mandatory audits on former President Donald Trump during his time in office, as is required.
The House Ways and Means Committee voted along party lines on Tuesday to make 6 years of former President Donald Trump's tax returns public. Trump didn't voluntarily release his tax returns and had fought in court to block the Internal Revenue Service from handing them over. U.S. Internal Revenue Service did not pursue timely, mandatory audits on former President Donald Trump during his term in office as is required. Documents released by the committee show Donald Trump and Melania Trump reported negative income in 4 of the 6 years from 2015 to 2020. For 2018 and 2019, the Trumps reported adjusted gross income of $24.3 million and $4.4 million respectively. All years combined, documents show their adjusted gross income was negative $53.2 million during that period. The Trumps paid some form of federal taxes every year, but reported income tax liability of $750 or less in 3 of those 6 years. During the year of his 2016 presidential campaign, Trump claimed a net loss of $32 million, paying just $750 in taxes. A spokesman for Trump on Tuesday night called approving the release of the tax returns a quote-unquote unprecedented leak by lame duck Democrats. House Republicans said the action sets a dangerous precedent.
After nearly half a century, the political enemies list is back in Washington, D.C. And we worry this will unleash a cycle of political retribution in Congress.
Democrats said that the full release was necessary for public transparency. A full set of Trump's tax documents is expected to become public in the coming days.
That 2018 number was quite a blip. And then also just that these audits, this audit function really just has not worked. As you alluded to there, in exploring his vulnerabilities financially, the places where he could be subject to manipulation, and then also ways that money could be sent to him through business transactions, apparent business transactions that didn't really have any business purpose. So that's a couple of things that were really sort of alarming, that he just has not been looked at, and he is beyond a doubt the most sort of financially complicated and at times vulnerable president we've had in a long time.
The UN family and the entire humanitarian community in Afghanistan condemned the Taliban's decision to close down universities to women and called for the de facto authorities to immediately revoke the decision.
In a statement, the UN assistance mission in Afghanistan also urged the de facto authorities to reopen girls' schools beyond the 6th grade and end all measures preventing women and girls from participating fully in daily public life. UN Human Rights Commissioner Volker Turk described the ban as another appalling and cruel blow to the rights of Afghan women and girls and a deeply regrettable setback for the entire country. Meanwhile, in a video that is going viral on social media platforms, male Afghan students are reportedly walking out of their exam as a protest against the Taliban's decision to ban female students from seeking university education. Women can be heard cheering and clapping as the men exit a room holding papers in the air.
Famed French serial killer Charles Sobrage, who went on a crime spree in 10 countries in the 70s and killed tourists in several of them, is to be released from a Nepal jail where he has languished for 4 decades due to his age of 75 years and good behavior.
Sobrage's wife was portrayed in BBC's drama The Serpent. He was finally jailed for the 1975 murder of 2 American and Canadian tourists in Kathmandu and was serving 2 life sentences. Nepal's Supreme Court has ordered that he now be deported to France. Sobrage had already spent 20 years in prison in India. His victims included backpacking tourists in India and Thailand. Sobrage is believed to have committed up to 20 killings between 1972 and 1982, in which he drugged his victims and either poisoned, strangled or burned them.
That's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Charlotte Benedict with Newsfirst team. Take care and God bless.